Hey everyone, it's Dr. Toker. We're here to talk about the procedure of the InterStim. So if we have decided that InterStim is the right procedure for you, you should probably know what's involved in this two-step process. So I've put together a little bit of a cartoon drawing with my hokey animations to explain what it is that we plan on doing. For this first step of the procedure, what we call a trial, prior to showing up for the procedure, I would want you to do for 1 to 2 weeks a diary. Keep track of every time you have some urgency or you didn't make it to the restroom in time. It doesn't matter to me how formal you make this diary as long as you are consistent. We're going to want you to repeat that diary during the trial period so that we can be a little bit more scientific about whether or not this is helping. Okay, so no matter how it is that you keep your diary or what kind of little icons you give yourself, make sure it is consistent. You don't have to wait until you're physically incontinent to count that as an episode. Barely making it to the restroom counts. Having to run across the living room to get to the bathroom counts. If you thought to yourself, my God, if I was out shopping, I would have never made it in time, that counts. Okay, so I want you to count those things as episodes of incontinence in a diary. All right? And hold on to that because we're going to make you repeat that after the trial. The procedure is not actually butt surgery at all. It's more like back surgery. And so the preparation for this, there's no bowel prep that you have to do or anything. Thank God, right? It's one of the few times I don't make you do some crazy stuff. But anyway, so you just have to show up on an empty stomach. And there's going to be some antibacterial soap called Hibiclens that we usually suggest you take a shower with prior to the procedure. This first procedure is pretty straightforward. With X-ray guidance, we find the third sacral nerve root, which is this one. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and that's 4. And so we put a little wire right here along this nerve. We then will bring the wire over here in the skin, make a little pocket in the skin, and then we couple this wire to an externalizing wire, which we then bring out here to the other side of your skin. And so when you wake up, you will wake up with a bandage over here and a wire sticking out of it. It's hard to imagine. And then an incision over here where the stitches are underneath your skin. This wire is then connected to, and I am not making this up, a Duracell battery. So you'll be like the Energizer Bunny for 1 to 2 weeks. Now, once you've done the trial procedure and you're walking around with your little Batman belt, it's got the Duracell batteries in it, and you've got the bandage with the wire sticking out of it. This period of time is a little tenuous in that we don't want this wire pulled out. So we're going to limit some of your activities, right? I don't want you doing a lot of twisting. I certainly don't want you tugging on this wire. And you got to keep the wire dry. So the one thing people complain about is sort of the hokey pokey bath that you have to take when this wire's in place. So you can wash your hair, then one leg at a time, but you don't get the wire wet. Is what I'm trying to say. I do send patients home with an antibiotic just to kind of prevent things from getting infected. That wire can stay in place for 2 to 3 weeks without any complication. And typically this trial is 7 to 14 days long. So I've never had a patient have an issue with the wire, but we just suggest you take caution. During this trial period of time, you should also be keeping the exact same kind of diary you did right before the procedure. Episodes of incontinence, episodes of urgency, so we can compare before and after. The company is very good about calling you with little, how are you doing? Do you have any questions? They may have you alter some things. They'll send you home with a little remote control. They may or may not have you alter some things during this period of time. If your trial is a success, and by success we mean you have more than a 50% improvement in your quality of life, Then our second trip to the operating room, we will remove the wire that you can see, and then we will connect a special computerized battery pack to the wire that you can't see, the one that's underneath your skin and buried into this little pocket over here. This little battery comes in two forms. One that you really don't have much maintenance on, that's designed to last anywhere between 3 and 5 years. When this battery dies, it's pretty minor surgery to go in there, reopen this incision, replace this battery, close the incision back up. There's a more modern version of this battery where it's a tiny little battery. It looks like a little chiclet, but it has to be charged once a week with a special charging pack. All of these newer versions of this sacroneuromodulating device, whether it's made by Medtronics or the competitive company Axonics, are MRI compatible. And so even if you need frequent MRIs, you are now still a candidate for InterStim. After this procedure, I typically will have someone come see me once to make sure the wound is healing properly. Then we will typically see them once a year just to make sure the device is still working, you don't have any issues. If you need it reprogrammed, that can be done at any time. So if at any point in time you feel like, this thing's not working anymore, don't just turn it off and say, well, that lasted for 3 years and I'm good. We want to maintain it. This is a lifelong device designed to have a long-term solution to continence. So if you're having any kind of issues whatsoever, you'll let us know. We try to talk you through some troubleshooting over the phone. If that does not work, then you come in and we reprogram the thing and make sure everything is in working order. Okay? And it will change your life 95% of the time. So I'm looking forward to being able to offer that to patients who qualify. We'll talk to you soon.